Hey everybody, it's Friday Farm Vlog, and today I'm so excited to show you that I have all three of my incubators full of hatching eggs, and I am doing 3 experiments at the same time. I love doing hatching experiments, and I'm trying out different methods to compare them to each other using eggs from the same flock, same time of year, just 3 different methods. So we have the shoelace incubation method, where I have a shoelace that's wicking water from a little teacup into the incubator to keep that humidity stable. I also am doing a more standard incubation method here in the center that is based off of this incubator, the Nuture Right 360 incubation directions. And so I'm adding distilled water to well A as needed to keep the humidity around 50% for the first 18 days. With the vent half opened, and then I'll lock down on day 18 and I will bring that humidity level to 70% using well B in addition to well A, adding distilled water. And so this one here is the most labor intensive because I am adding distilled water into the incubator approximately 1 to 2 times a day, just really depending on where this is at. I do find the humidity drops overnight down into the 30s, and then in the morning I add the distilled water to bring it back up to 50%. And then typically come evening it's down to the 40s after going through the day, and I will add just a little bit to help it get through the night. And then the last incubation method over here is dry hatching. So I put a little notation on here, dry hatching. So I haven't added any water to this incubator, and the humidity has been staying stable at 30%. So far this has been the easiest, most hands-off of the 3 incubation methods because I haven't had to add any water. And then the shoelace method where I'm just adding water. So far I started it off with half a teacup of water, and it's been 3 days and I just added a little bit more distilled water to here because it had dropped by about 3%. And so I just filled a little bit more in this teacup about halfway to top it off, and it's now to 52%. So it's got sufficient amount of distilled water. But to add water every 3 days, that's not bad. That's pretty simple when it comes to incubation. For the most part, these are holding pretty steady with the humidity. It's the one in the middle that I have the humidity fluctuations, and I'm adding the distilled water as needed. So we're gonna see in about 3 weeks how many chicks hatch using each experiment. And hopefully I don't screw it up along the way. Because I'm really excited to see which method works well. And I have hatched with all 3 methods. I've had success with all 3 methods. And in the past, the Nuture Right 360 directions have been my best hatch rates. I've gotten 100% hatch rates using their directions, as well as with a heating pad underneath. But I had good hatch rates as well with dry hatching and the shoelace method, just not as good as this one. The time of year of when you're hatching can certainly play a role, and I am doing this in early spring. We'll see. I just did a winter hatch and the hatch rate wasn't great, but I was using older eggs, so I expected that. And speaking of that older hatch, the chicks are now 17 days old. We did sell 4 of them. They went to a great home, and I'm so happy for them. We are looking for homes for the remaining 24 chicks, but in the past we have sold more chicks in April, May, and June. And this is my first time hatching early in winter and having the chicks available early spring. But let me show you how big they're getting. Are those your chickie babies? So as you can see, they've definitely grown. It's amazing week to week how much their feathers change, how big they get. So they are getting in all new feathers. They are shedding that baby down chick feathering that's so soft. Are these your chickie babies? Yeah. Anna, my St. Bernard, she loves chicks. She likes to hang out down here with them, huh? Yeah. You got a little muddy outside today. It is pouring outside. Huh. Yeah. Now this is 13 of the chicks, so the other half is still in there. I can hear them jumping, trying to come out. They like to come out to play. I'll show you a bantam buff Orpington to compare their size. So here's a bantam. Now these bantam chicks are older than these standard buff Orpington chicks. But quite a bit smaller, huh? So our little bantam here, and then our standard buff Orpington here. Anna, did the chickie baby climb on your paw? I feel like you can get a better view of the size difference from above. Bantam versus standard. Now I don't recommend leaving a dog unsupervised with chicks because dogs do have a prey drive, some higher than others. Anna has been around chicks her whole life, from a puppy on, raised with chicks. She's never left unsupervised with chicks, however. But I know that she is comfortable around chicks and has been trained around chicks. And so she is welcome to stay while I'm playing with the chicks. However, with my Borble puppy, that's a different story. I wouldn't have the chicks out with him not on a leash just because he still has those puppy tendencies and is still in training. Now for size comparison to a buff Brahma bantam. The buff Brahma bantam is getting feathered feet and beautiful coloring. The feathers are so cool. And this buff Brahma bantam is a week and a half older than these chicks, but is smaller because of the bantam breeding. You see the little feet? So cute. So the buff Brahmas and the buff Orpington bantams are hanging out. They're growing quickly. And then I have the other buff Orpington bantams in this area here that are doing really good. And then the other half of the standard buff Orpingtons are in this brooder. I know, Anna, they're making a mess. We should probably put them back, right? I think that chick was missing your warm paw. And I had one chicken here that has been getting vitamins daily because since hatching has had some issues with its neck being curled downwards. But I gotta be honest, every day when I try to find the chick that we've been calling Flippy, Flippy is getting harder and harder to find because it's been running around with its head up, and only occasionally will we see it start to bend the neck down and back up. So definite improvement. So this chick right here, this is Flippy. Flippy is smaller than the rest, and is responding to the poultry nutrient vitamins, which makes me think that it is a nutritional deficiency that was causing the issues. So if you saw that little head shake, so occasionally still doing that, but definitely smaller than the rest. But doing so much better, more active, more bright, more alert. And I'm so happy for the little chickie baby. And I know some people choose to dispatch chicks that are showing neurological signs at hatching time, but for me, I always try to do my best to give them the vitamins that they need and the extra care so that, like Flippy, they can end up living a good, normal life. And in my experience, while Flippy is smaller than the others right now, in time, he will catch up. He's a little smaller. Oh, he's a little small guy right now. Or girl, we're not sure yet. It'll take time. And the other chick that had trouble hatching that I helped come out of the egg, honestly, I can't find that chick anymore. That chick is doing so good and blends in with the rest of the chickie babies. And so that's a good thing. Happy, healthy babies. That's what we want. Right, baby chickies? Right, that's what we want. And get your little tails growing in, your little tail feathers. They're getting long. They're growing. 6 more weeks and we'll be able to tell if these are boys or girls. With the 3 brooders and heat lamps going, it's pretty warm in this room. Normally I put heating pads under my incubators to keep the temperature steady for them. But with this room being warmer with the brooders going and with my chickie babies using my heating pads as little caves and little mountains to climb on that is heated, I didn't want to take away their little heating pads to use for the incubator. And I have these little seedling warming mats, but I found that it was a little too warm for the incubator having the seedling heat mat with the brooder heat lamps going in here in this warm room. So the incubators are doing well just using their own heat source without any extra heat source for now. So we'll see how that goes with this experiment. So these standard Buff Orpingtons have tripled in size since 2 weeks ago when they were born, and with 24 of them, they are outgrowing this brooder really quickly. I did switch them over to the pine pellets for bedding instead of just the paper towels, because after the first week I usually switch them over, and it really does help with the smell and keeping things cleaner in here. But with the way that they are growing, I think by next week they're gonna have to move out to the chick coop outside. So I'm going to be getting that prepared for them. It makes me a little nervous with the weather being colder, getting them set up outside. But with multiple heat sources out there, they should be just fine. I've got 2 hens that are broody. They seem to think that this time of year, this weather here in Massachusetts is just perfect for them to hatch some brand new baby chicks. So their chicks will be hopefully hatching soon if all goes well. They have both been very diligent about sitting on their nest. So I'm really hopeful that they will hatch out some beautiful little Buff Orpington chickie babies. And that way we can watch them raise up their little chickie babies. And once we move these chicks out into the chick coop, the main flock is going to be so curious about all these little chicks and where they came from. They are from their eggs. They're my flock's offspring, but I don't know if they make that correlation when they come from an incubator. But they certainly do get curious, and then they start trying to visit the chick coop. But I do keep it closed up so the main flock can't access the chicks, but it doesn't stop them from trying. These chickie babies are tired from their little playtime out here. They're starting to bed down, settle down under the heat lamp. And get cozy, cleaning their feathers. They're so cute when they all pile up and take a nap together. We got one falling asleep in the food. So thank you for hanging out with Anna, my St. Bernard, the chickie babies, and me today. Definitely check back next Friday so you can see how this experiment is going with these 3 incubators and how the chickie babies are growing. And hopefully it won't be downpouring rain next Friday, so I can take you out to see how our goats are doing, which they're doing great. Their pregnancy is progressing. They're getting little bumps where you can see their bellies popping out. Those babies appear to be growing, so I can't wait to share that with you. Another month to go before Fancy Nancy has her babies though, so it's the waiting game. But I am loving all the fun we're having on the farm with all these chickie babies and soon to be goat babies. And if you haven't started your farm yet, what are you waiting for? Get your farm on.
1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want a farm? A wicked awesome farm? Watch this channel to learn what to do. We love to farm and we'll show